Hi guys. Um, I normally do sports news on Tuesday, but this isn't a sports news. This is like my fantasy football stuff and like predictions, who to start, who not to start. And so if you agree, or like if you don't agree with something I can say, you don't have to take my advice. It's just what I would do. And I'm not an expert. So, I'm not an expert and you don't have to take what I say. It's just what I would do if I were in your shoes. So, um, I'm mainly talking about PPR leagues, meaning points per reception. So, I'm gonna get started. So, the Giants, they play the Washington football team, and there's some. Oh, so when I talk about injuries, I'm only gonna talk about injuries that would affect fantasy. And when I talk about lineup decisions, I'm only talking about fantasy lineup decisions. So, injuries for Washington football team and the Giants. Devontae Freeman, he is out, so not playing. Um, a good fill-in for him would be Wayne Gallman, but I mean, I'm not crazy about Gallman. So only if you need like a running back or like a flex, then use Gallman. But otherwise, I wouldn't start Gallman. Only if you need a running back because I mean, Gallman's not gonna get a huge role. I mean, he'll probably play and like he'll still play and all that stuff. But I mean, Freeman, he doesn't even score that many fantasy points per game, so I don't see Gallman doing it. But I'd start him if you need like another running back or like an extra position. Logan Thomas, he practiced Friday, um, and it looks like he's gonna play, and I'm starting him. So, because I think it's a good matchup of him versus the Giants because the Giants just aren't very good. So, I would start him. But if you have a better tight end, like I would start him if you need a tight end. So he's probably one of my best tight ends, which is why I'm starting him. All right, so Antonio Gibson, he's not hurt, but these are my lineup decisions for this game. So Antonio Gibson, I'd start him if you need a running back. I mean, he's pretty good. Um, and Evan Ingram, if you need a tight end, he's getting a lot of targets. So if you need a tight end, start him. I have Logan Thomas and Evan Ingram, and I'm starting Thomas. All right, on to the Bears versus the Titans. The only injury, AJ Brown, he practiced fully on Friday, so it seems like he's gonna play. David Montgomery and Derrick Henry, I see as must starts because Henry is just really good, and Montgomery he just gets tons of touches. So, and Corey Davis, I would start him as a receiver or flex. So if you need someone to fill there, then I'd probably do it. But I mean, depends on who your other receivers are. So I might do it, I might not, depending on who it is, but I don't know. Maybe it depends on your receivers. So Vikings versus Lions, injuries. Kenny Galladay is out, and Matthew Stafford, he tested positive for COVID-19, or he couldn't do due to contact tracing, or he tested positive, I'm not sure which. But he is going to play, so that's good because the Lions like they need Stafford. And then DeAndre Swift, he only had 1 yard rushing not yesterday, last week. But I expect him to do better. So, and I'm also starting him. Panthers versus Chiefs injuries. Sammy Watkins, he's questionable, so he's probably gonna be a game time decision. Which you should look for the update, which comes out about 90 minutes before the game. Um, so if you have both Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would start both of them because when you put them together, you get the Chiefs run. So if you have both of them, I'd start them. If you only have one, then I'd start um CEH, but Bell I'd probably sit. I don't know. I mean, if you need a running back, obviously start him. But if you have other solid running backs that are good, then you should probably sit Bell. And I am starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Um, Christian McCaffrey, he's also coming back from injury this week. Um, I would watch how much he plays. I definitely start him, but I would see how much he plays. I don't expect him to be getting I expect him to be getting lots of touches, but not as many as if he weren't coming off the injury reserve. So I just look to see. I expect him to have a good game, and I also think he's probably going to be definitely start him because he's still going to get a lot of touches. I just don't think he'll get as many as if he was completely healthy. So Texans versus Jaguars. Gardner Minshew is out, so um, James Robinson is the only Jaguar I trust in this game. I don't have him, but if I did, I would start him. And he's also the only Jaguar I would trust because I don't even trust DJ Chark with Minshew out because you don't know how good the quarterback is. And for the Texans, Will Fuller, I'm starting, and Brandon Cooks. If you need a receiver, start him. If you don't, then maybe put him in as a flex. Ravens versus Colts. Mark Ingram is doubtful, and so is T.Y. Hilton. I don't think Ingram's going to play. Um, so Ingram replacements, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. I like Dobbins a little bit better because he had a great game last week. So yeah, I prefer Dobbins over Edwards, but I also expect a good game from Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown. They haven't really been that great this year, but I expect them to pick it up sometime. And Jonathan Taylor, um, he was limited in practice a few days ago, but I expect him to be the lead back for the Colts. Now, Seahawks versus Bills. Injuries. Chris Carson is out, and Carlos Hyde is also out. So a lineup decisions for that game would be DJ Dallas. I expect him to be the Seahawks' top running back, and I'd start him. I don't have him, but if I were you and had him, I would start him. And I don't really expect Travis Homer to cut into Dallas's workload that much because he didn't really last week, so I didn't expect him to cut into it this week. Broncos versus Falcons. Injuries. Philip Lindsay, Tim Patrick, and Calvin Ridley are all questionable. Seems like Lindsay and Patrick are going to play, and Ridley's questionable. So, I would start Melvin Gordon, even though Lindsay is looking like he's going to play. I think Lindsay's going to be a little bit limited and not get the amount of touches he normally does. So I would sit Lindsay, start Melvin Gordon, Tim Patrick. I also like the matchup, and I like Jerry Jeudy. So Patrick and Jeudy are two receivers that I expect a good game from. So if you have one of them, I'd probably start him. Raiders versus Chargers. Josh Jacobs is questionable. And for the Chargers, Justin Jackson, I would start, and Joshua Kelly, I would sit. But I personally am starting not Justin Kelly, Joshua Kelly. I'm starting Kelly because I don't have any other running backs. And the only reason I think I would start Jackson over Kelly is I just feel like Jackson has played better, and he's really just showed the Chargers that he's their lead back with Austin Eckler out. Um, Cowboys versus Steelers. Ezekiel Elliott is questionable. Um, I don't particularly trust any Cowboys, but I'd probably start Elliott if he plays. So start Elliott if he plays. And Chase Claypool, um, I would start him if you need a flex or a wide receiver. I'm personally not starting him, but only because some of my receivers, the three receivers I am starting, are Will Fuller, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. And I just feel like they're all going to have better games than Claypool, so that's just why I'm not starting Claypool. Dolphins versus Cardinals. Myles Gaskin, he has an MCL sprain and will be out 3 weeks, and he was placed on IR. Kenyon Drake is out, and Matt Breida is also out. Um, Chase Edmonds, I would consider a must-start running back with Kenyon Drake out. Jordan Howard, he should probably be the number one guy for the Dolphins, but it depends who your other running backs are. But I'm not crazy about Howard. But if you need a running back, start him, obviously. And Christian Kirk, I think he's going to be pretty good in this game, so I'd start him. But I don't have him, so. Saints versus Bucks. Michael Thomas is questionable. Chris Godwin is also questionable, but expected to play. I expect Michael Thomas to play too. Um, Antonio Brown is going to make his debut. But I would not personally start Brown because Godwin's expected to play. And I would start Brown if Godwin wasn't playing, but I wouldn't start Antonio Brown now since Godwin is playing. Alright, in the last game, Monday Night Football, Patriots versus Jets. Damian Harris is questionable. Sam Darnold is not playing. And Jameson Crowder is questionable. So, I don't really trust any Jet except for maybe Jameson Crowder if he plays. Definitely not one of the Jets running backs. Patriots, maybe some of the running backs. Potentially Cam Newton if you need a quarterback, because the Jets are the Jets. And so, yeah. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll answer them. So that basically does it. I hope you have a good fantasy game. So that basically does it. And so make sure to like and subscribe. And comment if you have questions. So goodbye.